Hi, loves. Welcome back to AW Confidential, where nothing is confidential, as my guests know already. Today's guest has lived 1,000 lives on screen and maybe a few, obviously, a few more after that. But Chad Duell spent 15 years and more than 1,500 episodes on General Hospital, bringing Michael Corinthos to life in a way that made us actually feel something. And if you've seen a soap opera, that's hard to do. But today we're talking to the man behind the character. So we will be chatting about identity, reinvention, and what happens when the script ends and real life begins. This conversation is about courage, the kind it takes to start over when the world thinks it already knows who you are. And I'm sure for Chad, that probably is close to the truth. No, Chad?
Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, it's very well described. Yeah, the situation there. I mean, it is a lot. I mean, you always have to reinvent yourself. I mean, I can go on a whole thing right now, but it is. Yeah, if you're stuck in the same place for so long, especially in a creative aspect, you will eventually start to kind of say regress. So your regression will be from not upping it. You'll just kind of become in this kind of just this lull, if you will. So yeah, you have to
Yeah,
consistently find ways of filling your cup.
a
And
hundred percent.
so if you don't do that, and if you're doing the same thing for yeah for so long sometimes, and yeah, you have to change things up as unpredictable or whatever it is. Full confidence that it's all going to be just as it's going to be fantastic. It's just you have to take those chances because
And getting out of your comfort zone. And I do want to ask you about that. You spent 15 years, and I don't know if this number is accurate, but I read that 1,500 episodes playing Michael Corinthos. And I hate to repeat that because you look so young. But but it's a role that started as a small audition, and then you literally have lived in someone else's skin, so to speak, in this character for so long. How do you separate, or where do you begin to separate the character from the man? Because now that's behind you. So, how do you envision that?
well, I don't. It's not like for me. I okay. There's a few I guess layers to that. Is as far as I mean, I never took my work really like home with me or anything like that because when you're used to playing in the flow or the recipe, if you will, to each day at work, it just you kind of get in, get out in those kind of soap environments. So it's you have days that are really heavy or weeks or storylines that drain you. So you can come home, you just want to take a nap and go to sleep. Like I'm exhausted because unlike other shows, you have like a week to film or multiple times to film or you know you have a long period of time where you get it done like next. So you got to be like right there and ready, and you let it all out. So yeah, it could be draining from that standpoint. But yeah, when you say that, like yeah, 1,500 episodes, it's hard to. I don't know how to feel when I hear that at times.
Wow.
There's two ways you can look at it. You can look at it like, man, I've been working actor straight for 15 years, but at the same time, it's you can look back and go, wow, why didn't I try changing it up more? Or I got too comfortable, or whatever. Extremely blessed to be able to do what I've been doing as long as I did. But at the same time, like I talked about earlier, if you don't have something you're doing when you got comfortable with something, especially creative expression, if you got comfortable with it, and it's not, you have to find other ways of sparking it again because this can get comfortable and get complacent. So some people have to do more drastic things. People got to step away, or they got to like find other. There's just whatever works for each individual person. Because everyone tries to give you advice of what you should do, what works for you, and that's what works for me. Is like I gotta reset. So as far as separating myself from the character, it, it's I know what I am. I know what I'm capable of. And I know it's immense. And I'm not just saying that. I know it's the truth, and I feel like yeah, I need to just do a reset in a multitude of ways and just kind of shedding away old habits, old ways of being, and step into what I'm meant to be. And I felt like I couldn't do that on the track and the pace I was on at that time because
Mm.
some people are addicted to comfort, and they are. some people are addicted to comfort, and some people hate comfort.
And,
Um,
and some people hate change. So it's,
yeah, it's just it's
yeah.
all coalesces because you're it's scary, like, because your brain, it's all your brain. It the little quick, like, it's always wants to go back to its safe little box if you let it happen for a long period of time. If it becomes who you are, then that's why it's like once it's set in, it's set in unless you change course, and that's what happened. I got for so long. You get to a point where you just like it's just autopilot almost to a degree. Some things, and you can't do that.
Was there any time that you sort of borrowed from your character or vice versa? Like, was there any overlap at all that you felt like,
Yeah. Okay. So I did notice certain aspects too. While I talked about, I keep bringing the word reset a lot because the character, when you do it so much so often and you have auditions for other projects, for instance, I do notice I would carry similar things I was doing with that character into the room, and you can't do that. You gotta separate yourself, because that, or the flow, or how you prepare for things, because how you prepare for the soap world is like, sometimes you look at the, like the night before, because you don't always get your scripts that far in advance, and if you have a busy week, I'm going to take like 30 minutes to an hour and a half sometimes, just cram it in and do it. It's like, because it's just a muscle that you learn how to work, and you gotta when you gotta push that aside. All right, this is a different, I have more time, and whatever. You have to is this re-changing, reworking,
a
old.
reset? You have to literally.
That's what I guess what it is, and I put my work. I mean, I worked there for a long time. I put a lot of work, and I worked really hard at it. I mean, not saying that, it was just, you have to find not see, I guess, comfortable ish routine, so you don't go nuts because of how much stuff you can have certain weeks. So you have to, like, I'm going to set the certain, if you were to, like, right when you get home, just look at it for like hours sleep, hours, you're going to go nuts. So you have to find something that makes your mental state preserved. So
Mm,
find the right time, but you can't, when you have an audition, for instance, when you had like a busy work week, you had 5 episodes in a week or something like that, and then all of a sudden, boom, I have an audition.
wow.
It's hard. It's not as hard. Like, all right, now I gotta, like, separate how I prepare for this, how I
It's
prepare.
like it's like a reframe, like a quick reframe, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, so that's what it was kind of like for me, is this, but now I've noticed, and taking a step back, and the resetting, I found that it's just, I'm finding a different work process. I'm finding a different way of grounding myself in the rooms, and I'm getting great. And there's going to be a lot of good things coming from that, and I'm excited that I'm starting to feel it more and more, where I'm just in the zone, and yeah, a lot of great things are going to be coming from that.
And I do want to ask you about that. So now you've leaving or you've left daytime TV after so long, and you're walking away from this steady heartbeat, right? That you're used to doing every day. You've got films on the horizon, or a film.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got a couple. It's in more pre-production right now. I can really say, but I can't get. Yeah, obviously, I
It's
mean,
okay.
you know, but I can literally just say basically one's about a guy who goes to prison for assisted suiciding his terminally ill father, and because he wanted to go, and then I got, and I went there. Another one is about a blind guy who basically has tried to save his friend's life in the middle of nowhere, and his friend's leg is destroyed, and so it's like trying to, like, pick him up, and, like, I can't see, tell me where the hell I'm going. It's gonna be really cool. And there's gonna be a lot more coming up over the next shortish amount of time.
Awesome.
You'll be seeing me around for sure. Yeah.
Very cool. So I talk about we've all gone through change, some sort of change.
Mm.
I've had my share of change, and it's just ongoing. I do believe that change has a purpose in our lives. It helps us evolve, it helps us grow, and it definitely challenges you, because when you get too comfortable, to me, there's no growth there. So, how scary was it to start fresh in a world that, and I'm not sure if you did films before, but um how scary was that for you, or like, where was your mind? Because I know that even, me moving from one state to another was like, oh my
Yeah,
God, like it can be a lot.
yeah, yeah. You get you again. It's just you use what you get used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was scary. I mean, it was scary. The fear is what, um, and I mean, all respect, the fear is what kind of kept me there a long period of time,
Yeah.
and is because I'm like, yeah, because everyone kept telling you the same thing. If you're in a job like that, any job like that, and people are saying, yeah, well, you can still do other things while you're still doing this and stuff. It's like, yeah, but not everyone's brains, everyone's, they don't always work the same. Some people need to kind of,
Yeah.
I need to just like push away things that give me comfort. Full to the comfort thing is it's like cutting out certain things, and you just got to like throw yourself into the fire. Sometimes that's how some people flourish. There's a story about Matthew McConaughey, for instance. I watched something that he said recently, and he talked about how he was doing a lot of romantic comedies, and he talked about how he's like, well, I didn't want to do anymore. I'm like, no, no more of that. I want to change up who I am as an actor. And he got offered a movie that was like that. He goes, it was $8 million. He turned it down. And he's like, oh, like 9, 10, 11, 14 and a half million. He's like, all right, I'll look at it one more time. And he goes, yeah, no, you probably heard the story. Yeah. So it's like he kept turning it down, turning it down. And like he was scared as hell because he needed the money, and they're offering him 14.5 million. Like he turned it down, but like what happened from that was he completely reinvented himself, and he became like a whole nother level of actor, and in respecting that aspect because he made that kind of contract with himself, and he didn't break it. And that's what you kind of got to do. You have to have that courage within yourself. Yes, I could say I wouldn't have if I said sell my house, and there's certain aspects, it's if you have a little bit in savings or something, yeah, sure, I can make it easier, but still, I have a kid and stuff. You can still be scary in whatever aspect it is. So yeah, it is, but
What was your biggest challenge? Like just uh, I'd say just mentally, what was your biggest challenge? Because I've learned that courage is not like it's not the absence of fear. You're gonna feel the fear, but it's doing it anyway. So it's to me the biggest challenge has been throughout the moments where I've had to force change. It's been like, okay, I'm scared. But I'm gonna do it anyway.
mhm.
But it's overcoming that it's almost like that that climb, that jump, that leap. I guess that's why they call it leap of faith. But that leap. So what was your like greatest challenge so far? Because there'll be more.
I
But
mean, really, I don't think courage can really exist without a sense of fear. I mean, you have to have something. I mean, like, because what is courage then? You have to have something you're overcoming or something that, um, yeah, scares you a little because, that's courageous to actually can walk into the fire when you could get burned. So that's what I would say is it was probably that is just because I knew when I stepped away, there's a number of reasons. First of all, it was a number of reasons. My father had passed, and I was also going through some life changes at the time, and I felt I had to kind of do a mental reset, not even just career wise like
oh,
that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. I lost my mom 2 years ago, and that shifted everything for me.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the so it's just that's what was. There's a few things. That's why when I talked to my producer at the time, I told him like, yeah, I just need to step away. But at the same time, I knew that I was kind of getting burnt out. So when I left, it was during the industry was really shut down. It was like nothing was going on, and it still is very slow ever since obviously COVID stuff, and then also with the strikes that were going on. They're still recovering from it. So walking into that was like, whoa, this is crazy. But the thing is that's what I think I guess I needed. I needed just to kind of be by myself and sit in it because, for instance, if I left and also another soap like a month later goes, hey, you want to come on ours? I don't think I would have had the full reset inside of me. Like I go right back into the same realm, for instance, or if I got right back on, I think I needed to step away, be not isolated, but isolated from gosh, constantly working like I was for so long to kind of just sit back and go like, okay, like let's get better. Let's take this time to get better and not just it's weird because as far as acting goes, when you work on other things about who you are as a person, your acting will get better because you yourself get more interesting. You get more grounded person as an individual. So it's kind of like it all coalesces together, and that's kind of it's what I've been doing. And ridding myself of stressors in my life and all that kind of stuff, and just getting my mental really on the right track. So if I step right back into doing something right away, it might not have that growth probably didn't wouldn't have happened. But the fear really was that, walking into a kind of a dead industry at the time after leaving working for 15 years straight, and that comfort. So that's, I guess I would say, the fear
Yeah.
was.
No, I know I can relate, and a lot of people can, and it's just I think those are the moments that define you, in my opinion. But we know that we know the acting stuff, but I read that you're a martial arts expert. Is that right?
Well, I would say an expert. I mean, I've been doing it for over a decade, on and off. I mean, I got
You a black belt?
no, I never went to like karate classes or
You
whatever. I
didn't?
think I picked up really throughout my life. A lot of times, this is not trying to gloat. It's just this is how it's been. Is like I can pick up things pretty easily as far as athletics go. Like I think there's this internal competition. Like I see someone doing something, like I want to do better than that. So that's what I kind of just started doing. Just I had just trainers that do MMA like professionally, and they would just train with me, and I just picked it up, and I just started really just enjoying the whole, even jujitsu, and as like the kind of puzzle aspect of it all, like, and seeing what.
Well, the reason why I brought this up is because the martial arts piece, it usually comes with a lot of discipline, a lot of like repetition and control. And acting is so different from like it's a different flow. It's, about emotion and vulnerability and sometimes even chaos. So I was curious as to um having those two different worlds. Were you already doing martial arts, or is it something that you leaned on um to sort of, because they're so different, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, I think recently I haven't been doing it as much, and this is a reminder, and I'm telling myself, you always tell yourself something your soul needs, and like I need to get back into the doing this. It's great for your body, movement, everything. The only the thing that I can say that doing martial arts, and I recommend anyone who's watching, you have children or whatever, please get them involved in that as soon as possible. Give them your strong male figures, strong female figures in those realms that kind of be around and like learn and discipline, because it gives you what it. I did that when I was little, but I have had ADD my whole life. I'm not like one of those people that just say it because they have short attention spans because they're on cell phones all the time. I'm talking about I literally had it, and it's affected me my whole life. But so, what it can do though is give you confidence, and that's what I realized is when I started doing it a little bit after I got on the show, like it gets to kind of ground you in the confidence in yourself. Like you did something that's challenging, and you were exceeding at it. It gives you that kind of like, it just kind of, again, another thing that kind of grounds you and makes you kind of just, feel good about yourself. And I feel like that's something you carry in when you're just meeting people, whatever, that level of confidence. You're less like unsure. Um, so that's why it's so important. So I guess I said
Oh, wow.
but they're also, the connectedness is that it makes you confident in yourself more. So, um, uh, and that's what I've recognized that it's done for me. Not confidence I can pick somebody up necessarily. It's just confidence
No.
that I kind of, that you have there's a skill like that you're really good at, and yeah, it just gives you that level of confidence. I don't know how to just necessarily fully.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I actually know a couple of people that have practiced martial arts for decades. And it's not just the mental piece and the physical piece. Um well, actually, yeah, confidence would be part of the mental piece. But I noticed the evolution um of someone who went from like, insecure and sort of just unsure of themselves to someone who was more I don't like the word control, but just more grounded, I
Yeah,
think.
be a little
Yeah.
more, and they have something, they do something like that gives their confidence. I mean, it's all because it's like your vessel, your body. It's like a creative expression in a way, as
Yeah.
well as like what you're able to do with it. So yeah, that's kind of how I felt. I was like, this is another way of expressing myself in a physical way like that and do it well. It's just, yeah, it was good. It made me feel really good. That's why I'm going to get back into it. I have to, got to keep my
All
body.
right, we're gonna hold you to it. We're gonna hold you to it. So one of the things that I love doing on the podcast is dropping, I call them truth bombs. I drop them all the time. I'm probably way too honest. But you've had this reinvention, you've had changes in your life, and we all have our own unique set of changes. What can you share with us um, about what your experiences have taught you about resilience, purpose, or even love? Can you share something that, because it sounds like you've had your share of challenges, like that's what life does. That's how we grow. So,
Yeah, I mean, I would say like one thing about of resilience, I think I felt I can bring it up to a reference to the show. When I said I was auditioning for a different character, then they liked me enough to basically fire somebody and hire me instead. It was like he was there one day, gone the next. The pressure I felt was so immense. I was doing terrible. I felt on the show first. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get fired here. How much money did I make before I get fired? Oh, this is okay. That's what I was thinking, like, because it was so bad, because I was so in my head, so terrified, because like there's extra pressure on me. And I think I've never felt. On my first day, I almost threw up and I sweated through 2 shirts. They kept having to change me. So I was like, and I eventually finally had a breakthrough moment where it, it was such a relief. It was like the hugest weight was lifted, because that was the ultimate fire situation. Like you're in the fire in it situation, resilience. Just keep at it, and then eventually you're going to break through. And I remember having that moment there. Um, and really, as far as, I mean, you said a few things, but yeah, so that was one of the most resilient aspects I've had as far as purpose goes. I remember I was yeah, when you're purpose, you don't feel like you have a purpose. You just kind of like wandering aimlessly. It takes a toll on you. I mean, because that's a huge majority of people. A lot of times, they just get going through a certain motion, not creating, because we're creators, not consumers. And I think a lot of people just consume and not create, and it can depress you, and that's why that's what I've kind of just come to realize a lot throughout all this is it's like I when you are feeling like you're stuck, you're in a rut, and you don't feel creative, you don't feel expressive, you feel like you need to change things up. I think that's kind of what that comes down to. Is I realize that you have to almost force yourself to change things up when you feel like you're just kind of on the same path over and over again. It's like you're being on the same treadmill at the same pace, the same speed, and the same incline, whatever the hell you want to say. You got to hop off and get onto something brand new. You start sprinting. Like that's something. So that's that, because then you're just gonna be. What are people going to remember?
sleepwalking through life.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is. I feel like that's kind of what I could have a tendency. Some people have different tendencies. That was my tendency to kind of start to do, because I grew up trying to just always be obsessed with what can I do that makes you feel comfortable here, as opposed to like what makes me grow. That sounds like work. Let me go back to what I'm doing right now, and I still battle with that. And I think a lot of people battle with that.
This is so relatable.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm listening to you and I'm like, wow, okay, I'm not the only one. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. A lot of people go through that whole thing of that. It's like it sucks, and you just want to go back. And it's okay. It's okay to have those battles that you lose every now and then, but you got to keep fighting. Because if you just throw a white flag, right, then you're just going backwards, or you're staying the same, you're going backwards, because because days pass, and you reach an expiration date. So it's like every day is you're going backwards. Like,
I love that. Stay the same or going backwards. It makes sense.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, because we're all gonna we're all gonna pass point. So it's like every day you're doing the same thing, you're going back. So
Yeah.
that's just what I.
Do do you feel like you've found your purpose yet or not really?
No, I think it's no, I think purpose is ever evolving. I think a lot of the times too. I mean, you don't. I think it's weird. It's a hard question to really fully answer, because your purpose is I don't know. I think our purpose is to create. And whether that is, people can have that be so, what does that really mean? Whether it's creating life, or you're like you did, you created a podcast, you're affecting people, you're changing people's positive lives, perspectives. Creation can be a lot of things, but if you're just reacting,
Mm.
if you're just existing, it's that's, you understand what I mean by creating
I
is,
do. No, I love that though, because we can all create and in different ways, but I hadn't thought about it that way, but that's what, well, that's what I know I'm doing. And wow. Sorry, I just literally had a light bulb moment.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's what
it's a different perspective, but it's simple, not it simplifies, but it solidifies that we all have a purpose. And when you say create, it just, I don't know, something clicked.
because how many billions of people are in this earth, and you look and you think like everybody has a purpose. You see some people just work at a, I don't know, the donut shop for 50 years or something like that, and they pass away. Like, what was their? You don't know. We really don't know. I mean, some people, you see them pass on. I think what's all the time, like you've seen these people who pass on and have experiences, after life experience. Like, oh, you're not done yet. You still have stuff to do. But like what the life they were living beforehand was like, just felt like existing. And they go back. So what is purpose? Like, what am I supposed to affect just one person's life? Like, am I supposed to interact with this one person that sets off a chain reaction of all these different other interactions? Like,
Wow.
you don't know. So I'm going on a whole different tangent there, but that's the
No,
thing.
I love that though.
Yeah, there's so many, you don't know what your purpose is, but it could be in the end you realize, oh, that's why I was here. I think we're all going to have that moment where we're like, oh, that's why that happened then here. I thought I was just doing nothing, but I was so nice to these people when they came in here. I changed their lives, and then then it's like, I think it's all just like, you look at like a spider web almost. We're all connected in these different paths. If you do this, this happens here, this happens here, this happens here. So your purpose is
That,
simple. I mean, because
uh,
how knows how many lifetimes we actually have, and maybe this one was, you're supposed to affect this one person. So this person, you don't know. It's vast.
that's
Yeah.
that's so awesome. I wrote an article called about connecting the dots, because
Yeah.
I that's what it looks like to me when I think about it.
Yeah. And that's, I guess that's how it is. And so, but some people's purpose, you say, oh yeah, what was there a difference? Like, someone's the president of the United States of America. Like, they have a stronger person than somebody who's did what we just talked about. He just volunteers at a homeless shelter or something like that. Like, it's like it just it's you don't know. Not one purpose is greater than the other. It's all relative. So that's why I guess. But you can feel it in your soul. Generally, you feel a pull towards something. That's what you're meant to do. That necessarily is your purpose, but it's what you're meant to do, and your purpose will probably could stem from that. But I feel like that's what this is for me. It's what I'm meant to do, but my purpose and my aspects of, if I speak of God, like whatever God's purpose for my life is, or whatever you want to call that, I'll know eventually. But I don't think yeah, I just think it's always changing, based on your different situations you're in, who you're interacting with. That's what's great about acting, is that I'm working on a project and how many people I can meet, interact with, affect people. Hell, maybe do something like this one day, doing a podcast or something like that. I've wanted to do something, what you're like, yeah, I'm thinking about wanting to do something like that too. Like, you gotta, what, I think it's also, your purpose too, to a degree, is what makes you feel good, what you do. If it's helping somebody, you get that feeling, that warm feeling over you, like
Yeah.
whatever it is that gives you that feeling, that's what you got to lean into more and more. So I think, yeah, that's, yeah,
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm telling you, I could relate to this conversation took a different turn, and that's why I always have questions, but it's more to guide me. I had no idea we were going to go in this direction, but I loved it because I know that I'm not the only one that can relate to what you're saying. And when you talk about, leaning into what you love, and not so much focusing on the purpose, but if you lean into what you love, everything will just kind of flow. I'm not saying it will be easy. It will
yeah,
not actually, but you'll find your way. I truly believe that. And when you talk about do what calls to your soul, I also know what that feels like. So
yeah, yeah. I think it's briefly. Yeah, I think that you talked about too is how things get tough when you're on the path you're supposed to be on. There has to be tough moments. because like I said, they kind of look at like little like speed bumps along the way. It's like kind of it's like almost like you're trying to go uphill and there are little speed bumps, and if you just kind of stop, go backwards. So it's kind of like you need to have those little moments to kind of like to keep you going up. Like it's like a because that's what happens. You just become complacent. Because
Yeah.
nothing else that's going to challenge you to go to another level. And a lot of people might shrink to that, which is it happens. And if it happens, you just got to not keep doing it over and over again. You know, you lost a battle, you didn't lose the war type of a deal. But
And you learn the lessons.
yeah, you have to yeah you have to there's no lessons to learn if less there's challenge. You know, so um, that's not what we're meant to be. I know we're not meant to be. We're not meant to just live a life of comfort. That's it. We're whatever our own, whatever that is to us. I mean, we could be on these earths solely to imprint something that we didn't have, and if you believe in previous lives or whatever, didn't have something that you need to imprint something new onto your soul that you didn't learn before, and it could be a life that seems mundane, but there's something you need to take from it. Um, so that's, I guess, that generally be at the core, I guess, a purpose. But to learn this, but how you learn it and how you keep gradually learning it in deeper learning it is what the ever changing purpose aspect we're talking about would be. But
Thanks, Chad. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I know some people don't like to talk about that stuff. I personally I think these are the conversations we should be having because you're not alone. I'm not alone. I know that there are like-minded people thinking about something bigger than like the physical world, if that makes any sense.
I had a feeling because when I was my people reached out to you about this and we talked about because I had a feeling you had more of a that we'd be able to. I knew we would probably talk about this. I just had a feeling because I don't know if it was the name of Empowering Woman podcast, whatever, but I had a feeling it was going to go to this.
Yeah.
But that's what this is what
I
this
love it though.
what it's all about. That's what I want to talk about. I don't. I That's my favorite thing to talk about is
Awesome.
spirituality and it's it's what we need to be talking about. I mean,
Oh,
what's the alternative is uh, you know
yes, I know what you're gonna say, but we're not going down that road.
no, but it's easy. That's a whole I would go down that road, not in detail, but we don't have that much time. But that's how I'm saying is like
You
that's
can
what.
come back. You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
come back and we could have that conversation.
not being fully over specifics or sides. I'm talking about just about people. I'm talking about the consumer and not being a consumer, not a creator. That's what that is.
Okay.
You're letting people think this way, think this way, this way, think this way. Okay, I'll think this way because I want to think this way. And then again, I see it all the time. It's just people need to get back control of their minds. Yeah.
100%. Oh man, this was awesome. I don't want to let you go, but I know I have to. But
So,
before before I let you go, can you just share with us how we learn more about you and these projects? What's
yeah, no, I'm doing well it's I can't well the first project.
No, you don't have to tell us like the
No,
but
not, I don't have anything again. Some solid. Currently it's in pre-production of those things. But I would just say you follow me on Instagram at Duelly Duelly. I need to post more. I don't post enough. But
yeah, I just started following you. I was like, okay, he's not. What's
I'm
going
not
on
very.
here?
I should be more. I just don't. I just.
You know what though? I'll be honest with you. It's a job. Like it's a second job, literally.
Yeah, I mean for sure. First, yeah, especially. Well, I got to look at that same way you look at it. You're trying to produce, advertise your podcast. I should be doing more to advertise myself. I get it. But I guess I don't know. I have to start caring more to do that. So that's for my thing. When I should have conversations like this, or do what you're doing too. Like I said, I think I've been talking about wanting to do I say a podcast. I guess I could. I'll have a lot to say. I feel like so I could. I don't know. I'm kind of ranting.
Well, let's see what happens in between those films.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Chad, well, thank you so much for joining us. I just want to remind our community Chad's story reminds us that sometimes the biggest plot twist is the one we write for ourselves. So don't stop creating. Chad, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh yeah. No. Thanks for having me. And yeah, we'll probably do this again soon. We can get more. You know.
We will. We will. And thank you, loves, for joining us on AW Confidential. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.